Welcome to Speech and Mind, where thought becomes action and inner speech shapes reality. Today, we explore a powerful concept that merges ancient wisdom with modern neuroscience. The idea that your dominant thoughts and inner conversations are not just reflections of your mind. They are the architects of your reality. In our modern world, we are constantly bombarded with thoughts. Some helpful, some not so much. But what if we told you that these thoughts, the ones that play like a loop in the back of your mind, have the power to shape not only your emotions, but the very reality you experience? The truth is, your inner dialogue is far more than a passive process. It's a force that actively influences the way you perceive yourself and the world around you. Recent discoveries in neuroscience have revealed the profound impact of our mental habits. Our brains are wired to respond to patterns, and every thought we have strengthens or weakens those patterns. This concept, known as neuroplasticity, shows that our brains are not fixed but can be reprogrammed through repeated thoughts and experiences. Just like exercising a muscle, we can reshape our mental landscape by consciously choosing what we think about and what we focus on. This practice of consciously shaping your thoughts is not a New Age concept. It's grounded in the science of how our minds work. By intentionally directing your mental energy toward positive, empowering thoughts, you activate neural pathways that reinforce these new beliefs and behaviors. Over time, these new mental patterns replace the old ones, creating a ripple effect in your life that manifests in better opportunities, stronger relationships, and a deeper sense of well-being. The power to change your life starts from within. It begins with the thoughts you entertain every day. By choosing to feed your mind with thoughts that align with the life you want to create, you begin to reshape not only your inner world, but the outer world that reflects it. So, let's dive into neuroplasticity and conscious thought, rewiring the brain with conscious thoughts for intentional living, and how you can harness this incredible power to consciously create the life you've always desired. Part 1. The Power of Inner Speech. Every human being lives with a constant companion, inner speech. It is the silent, ceaseless dialogue we have with ourselves. A stream of thoughts, judgments, self-reflections, imagined conversations, and mental rehearsals. Though invisible to the world, this inner narrative profoundly shapes who we are, how we feel, and what we experience. In psychological terms, this continuous thought stream constitutes our mental diet. Just as our physical health is influenced by what we consume, our mental and emotional well-being is shaped by the quality of our internal dialogue. If your inner world is saturated with fear, criticism, resentment, or limitation, your outer world will inevitably reflect that same disharmony. Conversely, a mind nourished with thoughts of peace, capability, and optimism generates resilience, clarity, and creativity. Neuroscience now confirms what mystics and teachers have long suggested. Your inner speech sculpts your reality. The default mode network, DMN, a network of brain regions activated during wakeful rest and introspective thought, is heavily involved in constructing your sense of self. This is where your brain consolidates your personal narrative, daydreams, memories, and imagined futures. When inner speech becomes repetitive, emotionally charged, and self-defining, the brain encodes it as part of your identity. This is due to the brain's extraordinary feature called neuroplasticity, the ability to rewire and physically reorganize itself in response to repeated thought patterns and experiences. In effect, the brain learns who you are by listening to the way you speak to yourself. If your thoughts are consistently self-deprecating, fearful, or angry, your brain adapts by reinforcing neural pathways aligned with those emotions and beliefs. Over time, they become your unconscious default. Not just thoughts, but embodied traits. The implications are profound. Whatever you think about repeatedly becomes neurologically real. The phrase, neurons that fire together, wire together, captures this elegantly. When you mentally rehearse confidence, peace, or gratitude, you're not engaging in wishful thinking. You're reconditioning your nervous system to default to those states. To illustrate this further, you would never expect to eat sugar every hour and maintain a healthy body. Similarly, if you consume thoughts of lack, conflict, or failure throughout your day, you cannot reasonably expect a peaceful, successful, or abundant life to result. Just as food becomes part of the body, inner speech becomes part of the self. This is why mastering the quality of your mental diet is not optional. It is foundational. It is the difference between living reactively and living deliberately. The voice inside your mind is not just commentary. It is causative. And when you learn to discipline that voice, to train it to speak the language of your desired life rather than your default fears, you begin to unlock the architecture of real transformation from the inside out. Part 2. The Neuroscience of Belief and Assumption. Belief is not a passive opinion. It is an active neurobiological process. Every assumption you hold, whether conscious or unconscious, is not merely a psychological stance. It is a biological filter that shapes your perception of reality and determines how the world responds to you. At the center of this lies the reticular activating system, RAS, a network of neurons in the brainstem responsible for regulating attention, alertness, and sensory filtering. Its job is to help you make sense of the overwhelming amount of data flooding your senses every second. But it doesn't do so randomly. The RAS is trained by your beliefs. If you have conditioned yourself through repetition, emotion, or past experience to believe that you are unworthy, overlooked, or incapable, the RAS will filter your world accordingly. It will block out compliments, opportunities, and feedback that contradict that belief and highlight those that confirm it. It's not that reality isn't presenting you with possibilities. It's that your internal operating system has been programmed to reject what does not match your assumptions. This is why what you assume to be true becomes true for you. Not in a metaphorical way, but neurologically and behaviorally. But here is the empowering truth. The system is not fixed. The brain is not a closed machine. It is dynamic, adaptive, and continually rewiring itself in response to your focus. When you begin to consciously select new beliefs, to assume success, to expect love, to trust in your own value, you shift the calibration of your RAS. You begin to notice people, events, and ideas that resonate with your new inner state. This process is amplified by synaptic pruning and long-term potentiation. Synaptic pruning eliminates neural connections that are no longer reinforced. In other words, limiting beliefs weaken when you stop feeding them with attention. At the same time, long-term potentiation strengthens neural pathways that are repeatedly activated. When you assume a new belief and emotionally engage with it, daily, consistently, the brain begins to prioritize it. In effect, you're not just changing your thoughts, you are rewiring your brain's architecture. It's essential to understand that the subconscious mind does not argue. It accepts what is persistently imagined, felt, and assumed to be true. The emotional tone you bring to a thought determines how deeply it is impressed on your subconscious circuitry. A thought charged with emotion is a neurological instruction. It tells the brain, this is important. Remember this, prioritize this, build reality around this. This is why mere positive thinking is often ineffective. It's surface level. Transformation happens at the level of assumption, the quiet but powerful certainty beneath your words and actions. You're not a passive thinker in the theater of life. You are a neural sculptor, constantly shaping the structure of your mind with every thought you accept as true. when you assume the identity of who you wish to be. Not someday, but now. Your brain begins the biological process of aligning your perception, decisions, and behavior with that identity. Reality, then, is not something you observe neutrally. It is something you interact with, interpret, and mold, all based on what you assume to be real. Part 3. Breaking the loop. Understanding why. Transformation struggles. Many people set out to transform their lives by changing what they do. They attempt new habits, pursue goals, and adjust routines. But actions are merely the surface of a much deeper structure. Real transformation begins not at the level of behavior, but at the level of identity, the assumptions you hold about who you are. The failure of most mental diets, those deliberate efforts to think positively, speak consciously, and assume the best, does not stem from laziness or lack of willpower. The problem is inconsistency. A few moments of high-minded thinking, no matter how sincere, cannot override the momentum of a lifetime of mental habits. Think of the brain as a garden. You cannot water a single flower once and expect it to flourish amidst weeds you continue to nurture daily. One empowering thought in the morning cannot cancel out an entire day of internal criticism, regret, comparison, or fear. And yet, this is what most people expect. They hope that an occasional affirmation will undo years of internalized limitation. When someone says, "I tried to think positively, but it didn't work," what they often mean is, "I didn't persist long enough for the rewiring to take hold." Neuroplastic change, the literal reshaping of brain pathways, does not occur in bursts. It requires sustained, repeated focus. Just as you would not expect a muscle to grow after a single workout, you cannot expect a new identity to take root after a few minutes of intentional thinking. This is where the discipline of mental hygiene becomes essential. Mental hygiene is not about repression. It's not about denying emotion or pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It's about discernment. It's about training yourself to notice every internal statement, every assumption, every phrase of inner dialogue, and asking a powerful question: is this thought in harmony with the life I am creating? If the answer is no, it must be released, not with violence, but with clarity. You do not entertain mental states that erode your vision of self. You do not feed thoughts that argue for your limitation. This is not about becoming emotionally numb or detached. Emotions are essential messengers. But dwelling in destructive patterns of thinking, rehearsing past failures, catastrophizing the future, indulging in self-criticism, is not emotional intelligence. It is mental stagnation. To succeed in your mental diet is to become a gatekeeper of your own consciousness. It is to realize that the mind, left unchecked, reverts to the familiar. And if the familiar is disempowering, then vigilance becomes your daily practice. What this demands is not force, but devotion. Devotion to a higher version of yourself, to a deeper alignment, to a consistent refusal to think in ways that betray your future. You are not just breaking thought patterns. You are breaking identity loops that have shaped your reality for years. And this is sacred work. It is not glamorous, it is not loud, but it is powerful. Because over time, this quiet discipline builds momentum. And once the scale tips, once empowering thoughts become your default, your perception, your behavior, and your life will follow. Part 4. Conscious Creation and the Mirror Effect. Your outer world is not the cause of your circumstances. It is, in fact, a mirror that reflects your inner world. Everything you experience in life, whether it's the quality of your relationships, your financial situation, your career, or even your health, is directly tied to the internal patterns and beliefs you hold. This idea may sound revolutionary, but it's grounded in both modern psychology and cutting-edge scientific research. In psychology, this phenomenon is known as confirmation bias. It's the tendency of our brains to filter and interpret the world in ways that confirm our existing beliefs. If you believe that people are untrustworthy, you will find evidence to support this belief, even if it's only in small, subtle interactions. In neuroscience, this connection is reflected in the reticular activating system, RAS, a part of your brain that acts like a filter for information. It directs your attention to things that align with your current beliefs and assumptions, while filtering out information that contradicts them. This is why two people in the same situation can have vastly different experiences. It's not the world that's different. It's the filter through which they perceive it. In quantum physics, this idea is explored through the observer effect. Essentially, what we observe in the world around us is shaped by our consciousness. The very act of observing influences what is observed. This concept underscores the power we have in shaping reality. Our state of mind determines what we perceive, and in turn, what we perceive reinforces our state of mind. So, what does this all mean? It means that your internal state of consciousness shapes your external reality. Your mindset, beliefs, and emotional patterns act as a lens through which you experience the world. The outer world does not cause your circumstances. Rather, it mirrors what's inside you. This creates a cyclical pattern. Your internal state creates your reality, and that reality further reinforces your inner state. Now, here's where the shift happens. Instead of trying to change the external circumstances, the mirror, you can change the face you present to the mirror. If you want to alter the reflection, you need to focus on changing the assumptions you hold, the dominant thoughts that dominate your mind, and the mental diet you feed yourself daily. For instance, if you want more love in your life, the key is to stop seeking it externally. Rather than looking for love in others or in your circumstances, start by cultivating love within yourself. Begin rehearsing thoughts and feelings of acceptance, generosity, and connection. Let your mental landscape be filled with the emotional vibrations of love. When you consistently dwell on these thoughts and saturate your consciousness with them, you will begin to notice that love begins to show up in your life in unexpected ways. People will begin to treat you with more affection and respect, and you'll feel more open and connected to the world around you. Similarly, if you desire abundance in your life, whether it's financial security, career success, or opportunities, don't focus on the lack of these things in your external world. Shift your focus to cultivating feelings of inner security, gratitude, and resourcefulness. When your mind constantly dwells on the certainty that you are capable, deserving, and supported, the universe will mirror that confidence and resourcefulness back to you. Opportunities will begin to present themselves, and your external circumstances will start to align with your new internal beliefs. It's essential to understand that the mind does not respond well to force or pressure. If you try to force a belief or try to mentally manipulate your reality through sheer willpower, it may backfire. The mind works best when it's nurtured with repetition and emotional intensity. Just as a seed needs consistent care and the right environment to grow, your thoughts need consistent reinforcement to take root and shape your life. When you repeatedly impress positive, emotionally charged thoughts upon your subconscious mind, you create new neural pathways that reinforce the beliefs and assumptions you wish to embody. By consistently feeding your mind with the right thoughts, backed by emotional intensity, you're not just changing your internal state, you're literally reshaping your reality. The outer world will mirror back your internal shifts, but only when you commit to this practice consistently over time. So, what's the takeaway? If you want to change your life, start by changing your thoughts and assumptions. Your outer world is a reflection of what's happening inside. When you change the face you present to the mirror of life, the mirror will reflect a new reality back to you. This is conscious creation. and it's a process that works through emotional repetition and the power of your dominant thoughts. Part 5. Mental Diet Protocol. Let's take a deep dive into practical application. Transforming your life begins with the thoughts you choose to nurture every single day. The Mental Diet Protocol is a simple yet powerful practice that helps you cultivate a reality that aligns with your desires. This isn't just about visualization or wishful thinking. It's about consciously reprogramming your brain and emotions to align with your highest goals. Don't let your mind accept all kinds of thoughts. Above all, don't let yourself be overwhelmed by negative thoughts. You choose your thoughts intentionally. You must focus only on thoughts of joy, feeling good, sleeping well. Your state of mind must be at rest. Let yourself drift into these joyful and well-being thoughts for as long as possible. That's what mental diet is all about. Let's break down the process. 1. Morning calibration. 5 minutes. The first moments after you wake up are crucial. When you open your eyes, your subconscious mind is most receptive, and this is the time when you can set the tone for your entire day. So, before your feet even touch the floor, take 5 minutes to consciously calibrate your mind. How to do it? Choose 3 empowering thoughts or phrases that represent the desired state you want to embody. These thoughts should reflect how you want to feel, not just how you want things to look. For example, I'm calm. You're choosing to start the day from a place of inner peace. I'm powerful. You're affirming your personal strength and influence. I am supported. You're recognizing the abundance and support surrounding you. Repeat these phrases to yourself, mentally and emotionally, while breathing deeply. The goal is to engage both your mind and emotions, making the thoughts feel real and present. The more you emotionally charge these thoughts, the more you begin to embody them. 2. Midday awareness check. By the time noon rolls around, you've already had several hours to interact with the world, and your mind may have picked up thoughts and patterns that are either in alignment with your goals or not. Midday is a perfect time to check in with yourself and reset if needed. How to do it? Pause for a few moments at lunch or during a break. Ask yourself, what has my inner dialogue been like today? This is a moment of reflection, so be honest with yourself. Have you been engaged in self-criticism, doubt, or worry? Or have your thoughts been aligned with the empowering beliefs you set in the morning? If you find negative thoughts or unhelpful patterns, don't judge yourself. This is normal. Instead, reset. Redirect your thoughts to your morning affirmations or other positive, empowering statements. Resetting doesn't mean failure. It's part of the process of mental discipline. 3. Evening revision. 10 minutes. Your subconscious mind is most active before sleep. This is the time when your mind consolidates memories and impressions from the day. The goal is to revise any moments that didn't go as you would have liked, especially those that triggered fear, regret, or anger. How to do it? Before sleep, take 10 minutes to review your day. Any moment that triggered a negative emotional response, such as fear, frustration, or regret, you'll mentally revise. For example, if you had a difficult conversation, mentally replay it, but this time, imagine yourself responding with peace, clarity, or strength. Visualize the situation unfolding in a way that empowers you, making sure to feel the positive emotions connected with the new version of events. The key is to use imagination to reframe the day, shifting any emotional charge into one of calm and control. This practice rewires your subconscious mind, creating new associations with those past events. 4. Imaginal Rehearsal. In neuroscience, there's a fascinating concept called neural priming, which suggests that mentally rehearsing an action activates the same neural circuits in your brain as if you were physically doing it. This means that through vivid mental imagery, you can literally train your brain to act as though you're already living the life you desire. How to do it? Take 5 to 10 minutes during your day to rehearse your ideal life. This is not a fantasy. It's a mental blueprinting exercise. Close your eyes and visualize yourself living your desired reality. See yourself achieving your goals, whether it's excelling at your career, experiencing abundant health, or enjoying fulfilling relationships. Make it as vivid and detailed as possible. What does your ideal day look like? What are you doing? Who are you with? And how are you feeling? Immerse yourself in these sensations and emotions. The power of this practice lies in the emotional involvement. The more emotionally intense the rehearsal, the stronger the neural pathways you're building. 5. Emotion anchoring. Here's the key. Thoughts alone won't change your reality. Emotion is the fuel that powers your mental programming. Thoughts without emotion are flat and lack the energy needed to shift your reality. However, when you infuse emotion into your thoughts, they become electric and magnetic. How to do it? Each time you think an empowering thought or affirmation, consciously anchor emotion into it. This could be the emotion of confidence, joy, gratitude, or excitement, whatever feels most natural to you in the moment. The idea is to make your thoughts come alive with feeling. For instance, when you say, "I'm calm," imagine the physical sensation of calmness washing over you. Perhaps you feel lighter, more centered, or at peace. When you say, "I am supported," imagine the warmth of support and trust filling you up. This emotional charge amplifies the thought and makes it more magnetic to the subconscious mind. Why this isn't just visualization? What sets this approach apart is that it's not simply about daydreaming or passive visualization. It's a form of conscious neurological reprogramming. You're actively rewiring your brain to align with the version of yourself that you want to become. The consistent practice of these steps, morning calibration, midday awareness, evening revision, imaginal rehearsal, and emotion anchoring, creates a powerful shift in your subconscious programming. You're no longer relying on external circumstances to shape your reality. You're consciously programming your mind to manifest the reality you desire. By committing to this mental diet protocol every day, you begin to master the art of conscious creation. You're training your brain to see the world in new ways, and as a result, your outer world will start to mirror the inner transformation you've made. This is how you shift from reactive living to conscious, intentional creation. Let's pause for a moment and reflect on one powerful truth. Thoughts are not innocent. They aren't mere passing clouds that drift through your mind without consequence. Thoughts are creators. Every thought you think, every word you whisper to yourself, is like writing a line of code into the operating system of your subconscious mind. And this subconscious programming is what runs the programs of your life. Your life is not controlled by random events or circumstances. It's shaped by the ongoing, often unnoticed, stream of internal dialogue you maintain every single day. This is why transformation doesn't start with the external world. It doesn't start with changing your job, your relationship, or your financial situation. It begins with the one thing you have full control over, your inner speech. I'm not talking about the words you speak out loud to others, although those are important too. I'm talking about the silent speech, the dialogue that plays in the background of your mind, the words that you say to yourself when no one is around to hear them. This is where your power lies. If you want to change your life, you must start by consciously choosing your thoughts the way you choose your food. Just as you decide what nourishes your body, you must decide what nourishes your mind. Choose your mental diet to be clean, intentional, and energizing. Let your thoughts be the fuel for the reality you want to create. You wouldn't knowingly fill your body with poison, so why allow toxic, negative thoughts to fill your mind? Because here's the thing, your life is not built by circumstance. Your reality isn't created by luck or fate. It's created moment by moment through the inner speech you persist in. Every thought you entertain, every belief you hold, and every mental image you cultivate is slowly building your experience of life. Your inner dialogue is the foundation upon which your world is built. This is the essence of conscious creation. Understanding that you are not a passive observer in life, but an active participant. You are the architect of your own reality. You can choose to design it intentionally by choosing the thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that align with the life you want to live. Welcome to the true work of the mind. This is not about just manifesting material things. This is about shifting your entire consciousness, about understanding the immense power you hold within. It's about realizing that you are in control of the narrative of your life and that you are the one who writes the script. So, take this practice with you. Make it a daily habit to monitor your thoughts, refine your mental diet, and choose your inner speech consciously. This is where your transformation begins. It starts within. The more you refine your inner speech, the more your external reality will reflect the truth of who you are becoming. Conclusion. This episode explores how neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself, can be harnessed through conscious thought and intentional inner speech to transform one's life. The subconscious mind operates on automatic programs shaped by past experiences, but conscious awareness can interrupt and reprogram these patterns. Through repeated, focused, and emotionally charged thoughts, individuals can shift their internal narratives and create new neural pathways aligned with their desired identity and reality. Key topics include the power of inner speech and the role of the default mode network, DMN, in maintaining self-perception and identity. How the reticular activating system, RAS, filters experiences based on beliefs and expectations. The influence of assumption and imagination on reality, aligning with both neuroscience and teachings like Neville Goddard's. Practical steps to change one's inner dialogue, install new mental habits, and live from the desired future self. The central message: your mind and speech are tools of creation. By thinking consciously, you shape your brain and ultimately, your life. Welcome to the practice of conscious creation. Welcome to the true work of the mind. If you found this episode insightful, imagine what consistent exposure to this kind of knowledge could do for your mind. Subscribe to Speech and Mind and join a growing community of thinkers, dreamers, and doers who are intentionally rewiring their lives. One conscious thought at a time. Your transformation starts with awareness and a single click. Thanks for watching.